John, how are you?
I am doing well, Viola.
You're very punctual. I like
How are
your
you doing?
punctuality. I like your
This is
punctuality.
my nation. This is my nation. Wherever I work, I'm the first person to arrive at the place.
Wow. So, can you moderate today, if you don't mind?
No, I'm a little bit hypertensive. I'm sorry, I cannot do it.
Ah, okay.
Hmm.
Sorry about that.
I developed it yesterday. I begin having headaches, trying to find
Hmm.
out, but this afternoon, a little bit rest. And
Wow.
participation, I'll be participating partially.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Ah, it's okay.
I'm taking drug, no problem. I think tomorrow I'll be okay.
It's fine so long as you get well, Bambi. We want you to be well.
No problem. I'll just be listening.
Okay, that's fine. We hope today Doctor appears. Haven't called him.
Uh, what did she say?
No, I haven't yet called him.
Okay, okay, no problem. We'll just be waiting.
Yeah, we'll wait. If it doesn't join, then I'll give him a call.
Okay, no,
Mm.
thank you.
All right, thanks to we wait for the rest to join. Anthony. Good evening, members. I think we can start with a recap of last week. Well, that was requesting any of the members. Peter, are you able to moderate? Last week we handled Unit 6.
Hello, good evening. It's Viola.
Okay, thank you. Can go ahead.
No, I'm not saying yes to moderation, but what is it that we covered last time?
We did Unit 6. Remember, we had a discussion.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, we could do a recap on that as we wait for Doctor to join.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So are you open to moderating?
Oh, yes.
Thanks so much. Okay, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Just give me a minute.
All right.
Hello, members. Good evening once again. I will be moderating our today's discussion. And just like our president said, that we covered or discussed last time, Unit 6. And I will start with a small recap on that, and then I'll be able to invite anyone to give their contributions. Are you able to record, Viola? Or there's no need for recording?
It records automatically.
Okay. All right, that's good then.
It's
So
showing
unit,
recording. I don't know.
mm, yeah, I think it is. It is recording, yes. So I can see John Kwereng, can see Musamali, and then Wilfred or Atetri. Is it Atetri? If I don't pronounce your name well, you you'll let me know how to pronounce it well. There's Labojo, there is Duke Isaac. So colleagues, you are very welcome for today's evening discussion. And if we can remember, if you can try to reflect back, we discussed what we call marketing consultancy. And marketing consultancy, when you hear about that topic, I wanted to ask one or two of us to tell us their view when you hear about marketing consultancy. What does it actually mean? Before I can proceed on to talk about, let's say, a brand. Is there anyone who is able to define for us what marketing consultancy means?
I think in simple terms is the relationship between the customer and the brand, and it is what really identifies you as a customer. What identifies you to your customers, because the identity, the essence, what is it really that is unique about you that others don't have about when they hear about you? I think in simple terms, that's what I can say.
Yes, thank you for your contribution. I will allow another hand, that is Nobojo. Nobojo, you can unmute and tell us your perspective.
Thank you very much. Good evening, class. Yeah, from my view, marketing consultancy is how one's or an institution's build itself to be able to deliver to clients, incorporating time, cost, and then quality in the process.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think if I'm to also contribute my idea, it is the competitive advantage that you have in the market, what people know you for, what is it that you can deliver. Okay. So, for example, if you have a consultancy firm, what is it about? Is it a construction firm? Is it a financial firm? Is it name it, another sector? Okay. So I think it is close. If there's anyone who thinks has a better idea and then those contributions, I think you're most welcome to discuss with us. This is our platform, and if you have an idea that you think you can share with us, you're most welcome. So I think that is it for marketing consultancy. So I'll go to brand, and what is a brand? Okay, the common one that I know is that people always talk about what we call personal brand. Okay. And in terms of its definition, personal brand, what it means is your identity, what identifies you among other people. Someone can say that he's a water and environmental specialist. So that is his brand. So if you have consultancies that are related to water management or environmental management, is the key person to consult because he has the skills and capacity or qualifications. Okay. So in simple terms, what a brand means is that relationship that you build with your client or your customer. Okay. In other words, some people can say it's a promise. Okay. And if it is a promise, are you able to fulfill it? People call it essence. What is your essence? What is your genesis? What is the purpose of your existence? Okay. Your purpose of your existence becomes your identity. It becomes your experience. Like most of us who are on this call, we have expertise in different fields. Okay. For example, Viola is someone who's good at community engagement. So if there's a project that is being implemented, let's say in one of the refugee camps, okay. So community engagement is one of the key things to do first. Okay. So she will help us and try to bring the different stakeholders together and simplify the main objective of the project. And from there, you can continue with the smooth implementation of the project. Otherwise, you'll have issues if there's no specialist that can deal with community engagement part. Okay. Anyone who can tell us what a brand is, and if you're giving us the definition of the brand, you can also give us an example. Yes, Viola, you can go ahead.
I think you have actually said it all, but just to add on to it, a brand is something we are defined by or identified with. I would give them the examples, maybe going out of the consultancy, like there are companies we associate with different brands. You see Coca-Cola and you know that is from Coca-Cola company. You see particular cars and you know this is a Tesla, that kind of thing. So in consultancy, I think what we do or what people expect of us is what they associate us with based on our capabilities, the reputation we put out there, what differentiates us from other people, and then also how we communicate. Just the whole outlay of how an individual or a consultant behaves becomes one's brand. Over.
Okay. Thank you. Having said that, I've remembered something. I'll pick your hand, Wilfred. I'll pick your hand. If you compare the taste of Coca-Cola from the real Coca-Cola company and that Coca-Cola from Reham, I think you'll notice the difference between the two. Okay? So people, even if the other brands that are upcoming, people still associate the how do I say it? They still recognize the main brand, which is Coca-Cola itself. Okay, as much as a lot of other brands are coming on the market, people still get tied to the main Coca-Cola. Why is that? It's because it has built its brand, and people know that it is the only company that can give us that taste that you actually feel like when you take it, you become refreshed. You have been working the whole day, you've been rotating the whole town. So when you come back home, you sip that cold Coca-Cola and you feel your energy is renewed. But if you take the Reham Coca-Cola, you don't feel that enjoyment. You will still be feeling some way like, no, it is not really adequate. It's not really like what you want. Okay. So I think some of us can identify with that. Yes, Wilfred, you can go ahead and share with us your idea.
Yes, thank you, Peter. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I think you have rounded it up and also linking to your submission and what Viola said. I think, yeah, the unique identity. But also sometimes many people confuse this brand with the logo. I think to me, logo is a part of the brand. And most times I would say logo is a visual symbol or is what people normally see, but a brand is what identifies you uniquely and your reputation, but also what people remembers you about and how people feels about your business. Actually, now the examples you brought between the original Coca-Cola, but also the Reham Coca-Cola, those differences are there. Yeah, thank you. And also to add, a strong brand really creates a lasting trust and where customers always get addicted to. Like now, if you take the Coca-Cola, the original Coca-Cola taste and the Reham taste, there's a difference. So you find the one that has a strong brand has a better taste. That's why we continue to remember and continue to consume the services. And that means it also applies to us. If you start your consultancy firm and you do quality work, your customers, being organizations or government, they'll always engage you in any consultancy services when you build that strong brand. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, thank you. I think, yeah, it's true. People confuse brand with the logo. And you have already clarified that. So Yes, Wajala, you're welcome on board. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, just to add on what he said, me, I just feel like a brand is something that you are recognized of, or people know you. For example, if you see a word Coca-Cola, what comes in your mind first time is soda. Where if you see just that, let's say the logo of Coca-Cola, the only thing you think about is soda. If you see the word Nike, the first thing that comes to your mind is something, clothing, shoes, what stuff like that. If you see MTN, what comes to your mind first is the telecom, because it's very hard for you to see MTN and maybe you think these guys are going to give us food. No. So I think the brand is what people know you about. So even as, let's say, in consultancy still, there needs to be a brand. Like right now, there are some companies which do consultancy, but when you just see them, you just know these ones, they know everything concerning, let's say, environment or anything concerning, because they have specified their thing. Therefore, in that way, it is something that people know them for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, it's true. When you hear a name of something or name of a company, let's say like MTN, what you think of is the best. It is always the best connection or the best communication company. It's the same thing when you hear about KFC. What comes to your mind? It's chicken, and there may be other things to eat apart from chicken in KFC, but what people relate it with is always chicken. So on the chat, I would like to read some contributions. Okay, so it's Raham, Rachel. Is it Rachel? Yeah, Rachel said it's Raham Coca-Cola. Okay. And John Kwareng says branding is the process of creating and managing the image, reputation, and identity of the farm. Branding includes this is from still Rachel. Branding includes things like name, what your business is called, logo, the symbol people recognize, colors and design, the look of your business, message, what you stand for, and how you communicate. Customer experience, how people feel, and when they buy from you or interact with you. Branding is the process of creating a unique identity and positive reputation so people recognize, trust, and choose you over others. It's true. So let's move on. Let's discuss something to do with competitive advantage. And normally when you hear about that, what comes to your mind? When you start today, you're starting with baby steps, okay? You set up your office. You don't even have a chair, okay? You maybe have a table. But as time passes by, you're going to meet other difficulties, People think that you're already well established like other offices, so the taxes will come in, the taxation people will come, we need this man, and yet you have not yet started to make income, so you're just only getting from your pocket, okay? So it's going to drain you from the start, but as time goes on, you'll cope up. So while you're doing that, you need to be tactical and strategic, okay? You have to do what we call promotions, sell your brand, do marketing on radio stations, flyers. You give out flyers to people where there's a large gathering. And if the conferences, you request for a spot to speak about your brand, okay? There's a conference, for example, in Speak Resort, okay? Go over there and talk about your brand. If it is a new water company, yeah. Go out there with a few samples, give them to people, let them test it, and they'll get to know about your brand. Being strategic also depends on you, where you want your office to be located. Okay? Sometimes people are very bold. There's Coca-Cola, maybe Coca-Cola has its office in one of the locations, and you just want to be next to it. You are not going to compete against Coca-Cola. And by the way, Coca-Cola already has dominated the market, and their price may not be as your price. Okay, but for you, since you're just starting, your price may be higher than the one Coca-Cola has, so you may not really compete. But if you go up country, yeah, there'll be chances that you penetrate the market. Okay, so ensure that your brand is registered, it has a copyright, it has patents. Okay, because when people try to search about it, look for it on the internet, they should be able to find it. Okay, it should not be always you explaining everything. When they call you, say, yeah, we are about to open a website, we are about to open up a YouTube channel. No, those are excuses. Okay, so once you start everything, a website, a YouTube channel, Facebook account, Instagram. Okay, so when people ask you what are your media handles, you tell them, yeah, you can find me on TikTok. Okay, customer service. This is very, very important when you're coming up with a new product. Okay, we normally have, we talked about is it cost? Who can remember this thing of the cost where you lower your cost so that you gain market fast, okay, than the normal market price. I've forgotten it, but yeah. So as you're starting to gain market, there is that point where you first lower the price of your product so that you attract customers. But now as you yes.
Discount?
No, it's not discount. Is it cost leadership, something like that, depreciation, those kind of things, if someone remembers. So how you treat your customer, if a client comes over to you, okay, how you treat them will make them remember you and remember your product. But if you're this harsh person, you don't talk in a respectful way to your customers, I don't think they will remember you. They will come back to buy from you again. And then pricing, yes, pricing is another factor. It's is an important factor. Right? So the price that you start with determines how far you will penetrate the market. And then the product quality. What is the quality of your product? A lot of people already have quality products. And then for you, if you come with a substandard product, of course, you'll not be able to get people to buy. For example, now we have, I don't know how many brands of cement we have, but people still always think about Tororo cement, the Rock. Okay, just because of that name, the Rock, people say, yeah, it's good. There's Hima cement now. Then I think there's this one which is coming up in Moroto or Karamoja. I don't, yeah. So when you bring those brands together, okay, someone will always still go for Tororo cement, okay? Even if it is expensive, a bit expensive. Person will go for Tororo cement because they know it's for the strength that it has. And then there's what you call positioning yourself in the market. How do you do that? Okay. If you think you're going to be shaken in let's say in Juba, the other areas in South Sudan, you can come to Western Barakazal, you can go to Eastern Equatoria, Kapoita or something like that. Or in Uganda, you can come to Gulu, come to Arua, come to Koboko, because a lot of other people already dominate the market in Kampala. So if you open up, unless it is really massive, okay, like Chinatown, I hear about Chinatown, they bring products from China and then, the price is really very low. Until of recent, I heard the government took over, and so the prices now are rising. Okay, and people have started to complain. So if you can come up with strategies, okay, that you can think will make you maneuver through the market, it's fine. But the best thing always is to start where there's no that high competition. But again, do not go so deep where people cannot afford. Well, we normally hear about the red ocean, the blue ocean. So those two terms, when it comes to introduction of a product into a new market, you think of those two terms. Don't think about something that is already flooded on the market. That is red ocean. Blue ocean is where you target a specific client group, people whom you think, yeah, they need that and they'll afford it. People, team, and knowledge. You should have the human resource that will ensure your operations go smoothly. Team, okay, there will be procurement team, there will be HR team, there will be the management team, the senior management team. And then these people should possess the knowledge, skills, and capabilities that are required. And then distribution channels. I think that's why Coca-Cola wins in the market. It has well-coordinated distribution channels all over Uganda and maybe the rest of Africa, since it is, I don't know if it is a global company, but I think it is a South African-based company. Brand values. When you choose a brand, it should carry a value. And that value is what will attract people. So choosing a brand is not something you can do overnight. It's something you should be strategic about, think about it critically, and then make up your mind and say, yes, when I come out with this brand, even if 100 years, when other people take over, they will not be able to change it. They will still admire the value of that brand. Look at the Indians, how they do their businesses. They're into selling computers, cameras, and all of that. And then they try to involve the kids at an earlier stage as soon as possible, so that the kid learns the brand that the business carries, the value also that the business carries. Yeah, so I think that is it for competitive advantage. If someone has something to add, you're most welcome. Wilfred, I don't know if that was your previous hand. You're welcome to speak if you can unmute your mic. So Kabale, is it? Yeah, Kabale says a consultancy competitive advantage is what makes it the best choice for clients. Examples of competitive advantages in consultancy includes specialized expertise in a particular industry or field. This is very true. Actually, when you hear mostly about Indian businesses, these people are really very, very specialized, and that's why they outcompete. That's why they outcompete other companies. When it comes to hotels, we know them; they do very well in hotels. If it comes to technology, they're there. Many years of experience, yes, solving similar problems. This comes to the human resource, the people that you choose to be part of your team. Do they possess the knowledge and experience? Proven results and successful client case studies. Okay. Affordable pricing without sacrificing quality. Fast and reliable service. Yes, that is in relation to customer treatment, how you handle your customer or customer service. Strong relationships and excellent customer support, innovative solutions that competitors do not offer. Yeah. So another contribution. I think Viola, we may need to, if you're going to discuss a new topic, I think in the next few minutes I will be able to conclude this discussion and move on to the new topic.
Okay.
So guys, I think there were a lot of things that we discussed about Unit 6. Because of time, I think we have to move on to the next unit. I don't, Viola, did we complete Unit 6 really?
No, we did complete Unit 6.
Okay.
Yeah, we could go through that. But however, some of the things that which were not mentioned in the recap, we looked at some of the branding tips. I think we have exhaustively talked about branding. And then we also went to the executive presence model where we looked at.
Sorry. Can you carry on like for 5 minutes? I'll be back.
Okay. So we looked at the executive presence model where we're describing a consultant in terms of being a legend based on the stories they tell, political awareness, and the courage that they have. And also we looked at ego still under executive presence model. There were four key aspects we looked at under executive presence model, which was legend, ego, focus, and then impact. And then we also looked at the zones of debate where we discussed about the big elephant in the room, where the situations where sometimes people fear to speak up because the big shots are there. So would they be comfortable talking, or they just keep quiet because of the fear of speaking out and then the related consequences? So the discussion was actually very exhaustive last week around this. And then we also looked at the personal change process where we looked at, was it anger, denial? I don't remember all, but we looked at that. So just for those who were there, if there's anything you need to add, you're welcome. Anthony, is there anything you would like to add? Alfred, Wilfred?
Yes, thanks, Viola. Maybe what I need to add is about listening. I think in consultancy services, listening is very, very critical. And I remember in the discussions, the issue of paying attention to the clients is very important. But also, it's said that the clients are capable of sorting out their problems by 70%. That means, as consultancy, we bridge the 30%. But we cannot afford to bridge 30% if we do not pay keen attention to listening and engaging them. Actually, Viola, the big elephant in the house you brought is very key because this is now linked to the zone of the debate. You find openness comes in a comfort discussions, and that is created. So, as consultants, we should study the environment and be able to create that comfort zone of debate and discussion so that the clients, the employees can express themselves freely. So that the 30% we contribute will really create impact in the services we offer. And once that is well done, it also now strengthen the brand that we've been talking about. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Doctor joined us actually briefly, and still he can't communicate because, okay, whatever is happening with him, let's pray for him at hospital. But he chipped in briefly just to allow us the rights to share. So Peter, I don't know whether you're listening. You are made a host. You can share your screen. Are you back? Okay, as we wait for Peter to share the screen, we can still discuss other things. Yes, Alfred.
Yeah, you mean doctor is not feeling well?
Doctor has consistently been at the hospital. Even when he speaks, you can, I don't know. I called him, but he joined us briefly.
Oh, sorry.
And yeah, if some of you saw, he was here listening briefly, and then he went off.
Okay.
So I
Thank you.
think we put him in our prayer. Let's pray for him, whatever he's going through, that he may overcome. So Peter, are you there? Alfred, are you contributing?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please go on. So Peter, you were made an host, so I think you can share later on as Alfred gives his submission. You can share your screen and then we go through from where we stopped last time.
Okay. Yes, Alfred, are you contributing something?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I just have this part of the part of the part of the cycle where there's intuitive core and then uncomfortable debate and then where there's comfortable debate outside the cycle. Yeah, I don't know if someone may be able to give a light on the move where when the people are outside, they're able to be comfortable, but when the people are within or are almost in the inner cycle, people have become uncomfortable. I don't know, might it be because of executives pressure, or sometimes when people are not able to come to understanding so that they will be able to move to ensure that there's a timely delivery of the consultancy and sourcing for consultancy. Yeah, I don't know if someone may be able to give a light around this area. Thank you.
Not so sure if I pick you well, but if you get that point, Viola, you can come in to clarify. Yeah?
I missed it as well. John's hand is up. John, you
Uh,
can go ahead and clarify.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to contribute actually. I'm not feeling well, like I told you before. I want to excuse myself. Go and rest.
Okay, it's fine.
Sorry
Have a
about
good
that.
recovery. So Alfred, may you come again with your question? Or if someone, team, last week we had a very nice discussion. It's going to be very open because we don't have a doctor with us. So where you feel you can contribute, let's feel free and chip in because it's a general discussion for all of us, not going to be Peter leading and all that, just like we did last week. Over to you, Peter.
Okay. Do you see my screen? Do you see what I've shared?
Yes.
Yeah, we're seeing the screen, but you can enlarge it.
How is it now?
It is okay.
It's visible still? Yeah?
Yeah, it's visible.
It's visible.
Okay. All right. So I cannot remember where we stopped, Viola.
We stopped
Uh,
at, I think we are starting from strategic thinking.
Okay.
This last part's very technical, kind of.
Yeah. Okay. From here, yeah?
Yeah.
So strategic thinking. Mm, by definition, I think it is you put yourself to the test. Okay. You're coming up, you want to come up with an idea. And then you think that idea through different perspectives. If I try this, what will happen? If I try that, what will happen? And then now when you're convinced, that finally, okay, I can settle on this one. And then that's what you take forward with you. So that process, the whole process of trying different things, and then now coming to one item is maybe what we can term as strategic thinking. Okay. The first one is systems perspective, mental model of the complete system for value aggression and implications. I think this may be in relation to psychology if you want to come up with a modern psychology. So you picture something mentally. You picture the whole business operating, okay? You see yourself giving out products to clients. People are coming to your shop and you're serving them. It's not yet reality, but you have to mentally picture it. So what you always think about actually becomes a reality. Okay? And also depends on the people you surround yourself with, the network that you have. Okay? So if you have people who have bright ideas, they always say that having smart people should not scare you. Actually, pray for people that you work with to be smarter than you, because that will, push you to learn from them. But if you're always the best in that group, and then you're in a wrong group, always have someone who's smarter than you. And then intent focused, to be more determined and less distractible. Avoid other distractions. This is what you're focusing on. Ensure that you give it all your time, all your energy until you see results. Some people start today, okay, I want to build my body. I want to be going to the gym. Okay, I want to do that exercise. But the test is not that easy. You're going to do push-ups. By the time you reach the fifth one, you're already, giving up. Okay. Next day, you don't even want to think about it. So you lose. So you should have an intent why you want to come up with that and be committed to it. Come rain, come sunshine, don't miss it. Okay. Have that schedule and strictly follow it. And then thinking in time, maybe past ideas cannot work now. The world has moved on. So if you bring something that was in the past, no one will pay attention to it. And instead, actually, you should focus into the future. You think about something now, and then look at it in a way that if time passes by, how is it going to evolve? So that means you should be innovative at the same time. Critical thinking, intelligent opportunism. That's being responsive to good opportunities, changing environment. Okay. For example, if the market in Uganda is over congested, you can maybe try South Sudan, you can try Congo, you can try Rwanda, you can try Kenya, you can try Tanzania. Yes, Viola, you can unmute your mic.
Yeah, I was just looking at, I wanted to add on to your definition, how you define strategic thinking, just for our general understanding. And I looked at it in terms of having a bigger picture where you anticipate the challenges or opportunities or the future. And then we position ourselves as a consultancy firm towards that. So it helps us decide which client we are targeting, the services we might be offering, and also where to prioritize. So that's I just wanted to add on to that. Thank you.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good point. Very good observation. Thank you. Anyone wants to share any view on this? Okay, I want to invite Mugabe Isaac, if you are here. I think you are here. You should be here actually. So can you help us and discuss this slide, managing a consultancy assignment? Mugabe, are you there?
Peter, doctor is on call. I don't know whether he's able to.
Okay. We recognize the presence of doctor. I think we
Okay,
can
carry
give,
on. Over to
yeah,
you.
we can give him the liberty to interject during the discussion. So I was trying to call on any person who can discuss for us. Yeah, I cannot see my screen. What is happening? Are people seeing the slides?
Yes, we are seeing the slides.
And I
Can see
cannot
the slide. Good evening, colleagues. Can you hear me?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, I have a lot of difficulties. People keep calling. I'm not using my Wi-Fi. I'm just using the phone to tether. So whenever people call me, I go off. But also, I'm in a hospital environment where there is a lot of interference, especially, I think, with the waves. The internet is not very, very stable. So when I go off, please, my apologies. Otherwise, thank you so much for the recap. I think the last time we met, what were we handling? Can somebody remind us? And please remain running the slides. I think I left some people as co-hosts. We were remaining with, I think, with the unit 7 and 8, isn't it? Had we finished unit 6? I try to run the slides and we get there and put it on presentation mode, please.
Okay.
Peter.
Yes.
Put it on presentation mode.
I think I put it on presentation mode. By the way,
presentation mode, I don't know.
This is a PDF document. It is a PDF document.
This is a PDF.
Yes. Let me ask Viola if she has the slides.
Let me check and see if I can share.
Okay.
You can
stop.
You can stop sharing and I see if I can share from this side. I have a laptop with me. My only challenge is I'm using a phone for tethering. I'd carried it even yesterday. I taught while in the hospital. If you hear some funny noise, these are machines from the hospital. They don't allow me to communicate well. It's a lot of sound, and on the second last floor, I think, they put their machines. But let me see if I can share. And I pray hard that people don't call me. When they call, they interfere with the entire process of presentation. Okay. I think I'm there. Have you stopped sharing? Okay. Let me share. You let me know if you can see the entire screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, doctor.
Right. So colleagues, sorry, we're not meant to have met even today, but I think I'm little settled. My patients are improving, and I think we can have a class. Let me see. We have gone through the models. We have gone through Unit 5, which is the terms of reference bidding. We have gone through, I believe colleagues, you have gone through this and should be able to read more. So I think we are meant to look at unit number 6, marketing consultancy. I don't know, isn't this so? Colleagues, did we handle marketing consultancy?
Not yet, Doctor.
No.
Did we handle marketing consultancy?
Not Doctor, we didn't.
We didn't, okay?
We discussed it, but we'd appreciate your
consultants. Okay,
yeah, but
that's
we'd
fine.
appreciate your inputs just to understand better.
Okay, then I can just go through it if you have already discussed, because basically we can look at marketing consultancy and I can just give you my input, what it is. Colleagues, you are welcome to unit number 6. We are discussing about marketing consultancy. I just want you colleagues to understand that I normally set a question from here. And sometimes I bring a compulsory question and we ought to understand what marketing consultancy is all about. And it's very important for us to know that you cannot be a consultant when you do not understand this aspect of marketing. Because basically, we can look at marketing consultant, and I can simply share maybe my input and perspective on this specific matter, colleagues. I think we need to understand that marketing consultancy is very key, because we ought to understand that basically we can review what we call the market consultancy process and use it as a basis for discussion. From here, colleagues, I can provide my input, share my perspective, and the highlights on the key issues that may need attention. This will help us understand the matter better and maybe guide the next steps in a more informed and a practical manner. Because you realize that when you talk about marketing consultancy, there are issues to do with a brand. And we're saying a brand is a relationship with the customer. It is a promise, and branding and the entrepreneurship are very key. So this is what we ought to understand and probably be able to put into perspective. I don't know what you discussed because I missed the class last week, but through the class president, I asked you people to ensure that you proceed discussing. So when we talk about marketing consultants, we must understand that they deal with important issues such as brand identity. Brand identity. I used to do a lot of marketing for a company called TNS. I don't know whether you people know about it. I started as a branch and level trainer. I was promoted to a chief trainer. Then I went to an international trainer. Then basically I became a global trainer, and I became one of the best in that line of multi-level marketing. But issues to do with the brand is very important. So our brand by then was TNS. So brand identity is very important, because we ought to understand that when you get to understand about brand identity, then there is customer perception. If you look at customer perception, it is also very key, but also there's what we call positioning and business growth. We're being told that a brand is not just a name or a logo. It's a relationship within the customer and a promise of value and a reflection of trust. That is what it means. Therefore, colleagues, when you talk about branding, you say that branding and entrepreneurship are very, very key, because they help an organization define who it is, what it offers, and how it remains competitive in the market. You will actually understand, if we talked about branding with examples, that issues to do with branding are very key, because we are being told that every organization can define who it is, what it offers, and how it remains competitive in the market. This is what we ought to understand and probably clarify, bringing out our discussion today, colleagues. This is something that we can expand more and better. So, colleagues, you ought therefore to understand that the issues to do with marketing is very key in every organization. The moment you do not have a brand and you cannot market, then you know that there are a lot of competitors out there. So branding is one of the most important concepts in marketing and entrepreneurship, because a brand is much more than a name, a logo, a slogan, or even a color. It is the identity of an organization and the promise it makes to its customers. It represents the experience customers expect whenever they interact with an organization's product or even a service. So a strong brand builds trust, it creates loyalty, and differentiates an organization from its competitors. This is very key and very important for us to understand. So colleagues, therefore we ought to understand that, every organization must clearly define who it is, what it offers, what values it stands for, and maybe how it intends to remain competitive in the market. When the customers consistently receive quality products or services, they develop confidence in the brand and are more likely to return and maybe even recommend it to offers. And normally these offers, the moment they are recommended, then others will pick it from there. For example, colleagues, a customer who chooses Coca-Cola instead of another soft drink often does so because of the brand's long established consistency. Likewise, many customers purchase smartphones from Apple because they associate the brand with innovation, reliability, and premium user experience. Colleagues, in Uganda, organizations such as MTN Uganda, Stanbic Uganda have invested heavily in branding by consistently delivering services, engaging customers, and fulfilling their brand promise. As a result, they enjoy high customer loyalty and strong market recognition. Similarly, colleagues, when you talk about universities that maintain high academic standards, quality teaching, and credible research build strong institution brand that attracts more students, staff, and development patterns. Colleagues, you know what I'm talking about. So when you talk about entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs should also recognize that branding begins from the first day of a business. A small bakery, a pharmacy, a restaurant, or even a retail shop that consistently provides quality products, excellent customer service, and maybe honest business practices gradually builds a trusted brand within the community. Colleagues, over time, customers return not only because of the product, but because they trust the business behind it. Therefore, as we continue our discussion today, colleagues, let us appreciate that branding is a strategic business asset. It influences customer perceptions. It strengthens competitive advantage, which enhances organizational performance, and it also contributes to long-term sustainability. But we ought to understand that successful organizations do not merely sell products or services. No, they build relationships, they deliver value consistently, and keep the promises they define their brand. This is key. Colleagues, talking about competitive advantage, we ought to understand this and get it very well, because in most cases, people understand competitive advantage probably in a different way. I don't know whether these slides are moving, but we ought to understand this very well, that sometimes we ought to understand that it is key and very, very important for us to be able to understand what it means to have what it takes. I was sharing something that was not moving. I don't know why, but let me stop sharing again and then reshare what I ought to have shared. I think I've opened many of this and I don't know. I think what I needed to share, I don't know why this is not moving. You close it again. And then you share. Just a moment. I don't know. Is somebody else sharing this document or it is me sharing it? I think it's still me. This is okay. They are now moving. Can you see the slides? Are they moving?
No, doctor. We are not able to see the slide moving. We only see
Are they
your
moving?
document.
You're sharing a different thing. Your desktop, I think. It is
sharing
not
the
the document, not the
okay.
PowerPoint. Not the PowerPoint.
Is that clear now? Are you seeing anything being shared?
Yes.
I know people don't want me to share this. We can go to Unit 7. Let me just end it here. So there are issues that we ought to understand, maybe on the competitive advantage. I don't know, can you see this now?
Yes, Doctor, we can.
When you don't respond, I will not know. So you better respond, you adult colleagues.
You can see.
Don't respond, becomes a problem. So I'm not in an environment where I can control this noise. So talking about competitive advantage, colleagues, I want us to understand that competitive advantage refers to an organization's ability to create greater value for its customers than its competitors, in a way that it is normally difficult to what we call imitate. No? I used to have a very, very jolly mentors. I think I was doing my second degree in the IU, Islamic University in Uganda. This guy is a Haji, a Muslim. And he brought examples that I can never forget in my life. I may not be able to mention the name, but he taught us issues to do with management, and he brought in the issues of marketing, and specifically was talking about competitive advantage. And he would bring it very well and would say that he married all his 4 wives, each with a different competitive advantage. I don't know whether I've told this class about it. And would say there is a lady he married just because she knew how to cook. And her competitive advantage was rare because nobody else could imitate how she would cook. Then he also said he married one of the Hajjats because She had a very good bam bam. You know what I'm talking about. When she's moving, she would really admire her movements. And these other ladies did not have bam bams. And she would say, you know, a Haji should have hajats. Some of them with big bellies, and some of them did not have bam bams because the bellies had actually taken up the bam bams. But this other one was very rich with the bam bams, and she did not have a belly. And he would make us laugh, but the man would make his points clear and would say a comparative advantage, therefore, is about that strength you have that others do not have. I thought I would bring that such that colleagues you get to understand it very well. So he would make us laugh, but the man brought it as what was that? A compulsory question. And people started fidgeting, those ones who thought the man was being obscene, and the man was very serious. He said, this one I'm going to bring. And I think I will also bring, but I will not bring the bam bam issues here. So colleagues, therefore, you ought to understand that competitive advantage refers to an organization's ability to create greater value for its customers. That its competitors, in a way, it will be very difficult for them to imitate. So colleagues, it is what makes customers choose one's organization over others. A comparison.
Have we lost the doctor, colleague?
Oh,
Doctor,
just
we can't
quiet.
hear you. Doctor, we can't hear you.
Muted.
I think doctor is disconnected. He's offline.
Members, we can continue with the bam bam thing. Eh?
Hey, why have you only picked Bam Bam instead of everything?
The brain remember things that it is interested in.
It is the most
Very good
obvious.
example. Good example of competitive advantage. I will never forget.
Yes, you get a woman who has a strategic advantage of the bam bam.
But who is that one who responded? Who is that one who responded in protest?
Then the other one, because she's bright, she can be moving with you in the dark. Then the other dark one for during the day.
That one who is protesting, you don't have that competitive advantage?
No, I don't have. And you, Peter, I doubt whether you also have a woman with Bam Bam.
I want one with the forehead.
Makes you bored.
Hey, the forehead. Me, I have forehead. 5 GB.
They are stubborn.
Those who are using, who have not registered in their names, you're like Max.
You like it?
You're going to miss attendance marks.
John, where do you fall?
I'm sitting to people.
John, people are asking what is your competitive
Bwana David.
Johan, what is your competitive advantage?
What makes you override others?
Some two colleagues who have as David Bwana, David
So who is leading the discussion?
Colleagues, if we are to look at competitive advantages, what the doctor has said, customers than its competitors, that they can't. You, Viola. Can we compare
John, you can continue.
Can we look at these two companies that are producing cars? Like, let me give an example of Cadillac and Toyota, whereby people can't imitate what Cadillac is doing. However, you have a lot of firms producing vehicles around the globe. Can that be a competitive advantage to them? Ambient, Aura, and Toyota can't do such, and also these other companies. Those unique values, are they there at the competitive advantage?
I think the aspect of lighting system, the fuel consumption, and all those aspects.
Come again, Komakech.
I'm saying if you talked about the cars company, then we looked at, let's say maybe in Kia and then maybe Harrier, wherever, the competitive advantage would be in terms of their fuel consumption, maybe the lighting system, and then the comfortability, those aspects, or the others.
The question is, who is selling more?
Yes,
who is selling
unique
more?
Features, those unique features like fuel consumption rate matters a lot, and then the speed, and then the comfortability. So that one, that aspect also matters, because in terms of the need for the car, it is so demandful for, and makes people demand for it.
So you mean other companies cannot imitate that?
Not really. Like the competitive advantage, what makes you stand out of the others? Like in terms of maybe the efficiency and effectiveness. Like for instance, let's look at the soft drinks. When you look at the brands like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, even if the person who has never seen other brands will talk about soft drinks, mention Pepsi, Coca-Cola. But now there are so many other related brands in the market, because the Pepsis and Coca-Colas have made their names and have maintained their brand consistency. And then actually the packaging has remained outstanding compared to what we have at the moment. And then the sales are high. Back to you, John.
Is what you need.
John, we have lost you.
Unmute and speak.
Maybe we start off from there. Emmanuel, you can speak. Unmute and speak.
Some of the especially when you take case of bank, how you get treated with the bank and the systems that they are.
Emma, you are far from the phone. We can't hear.
Oh, sorry, I connected to Bluetooth. Let me connect.
Even in class, I hope you'll be able to hear me very well.
Yeah, you can go on.
Thank you very much. Yeah, looking into competitive advantages, comparing with some of the banks that we have, taking their services and then the quality of their services. For example, some of the banks, they are still using paper where they documents the names on the paper and then also produce some booklets to allow you track your account. While some of the banks have gone to using systems that one can be able to transfer money online, like from one person to another, and then also using ATMs where one can be able to pick money. I think those who have already invested into those innovative systems, they are more to the market and they are more to the need of the communities than those who are still struggling to change to the modern type of the banking. I see it's one of the competitive advantages that I see it that we ought to move. And then in the area of consultancy, it also looked on how we can come up with some of the innovative systems on how we will have systems on how we can be able to ensure that we have timely delivery. Where we also use some software to ensure that service is delivered within a possible time possible. I think these are my submissions. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Actually, to add on what Emma was speaking about of the banks, the competitive advantage. I remember maybe nowadays DFC is picking it up after the decline of Crane Bank, but before Centenary used to do it, like it had the competitive advantage over almost having every bank or an ATM in every district. Like everywhere you would go, you would find there a Centenary Bank, and some people used to call it even a village bank because its background was from like village banks. So it was one of the competitive advantage that yes, these other banks, Stanbic and all the rest, had better services compared to Centenary Bank, but at least someone was so sure that if I open up an account in Centenary Bank, I'm so sure that I will be able to access it anywhere I go in the whole of the country, and I think that would be okay. Yes, guys, anyone else to add on? Guys, any other submission on competitive advantage?
Some people are posting in the chat.
I suggest and let them talk.
Colleagues, I don't know, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We're getting you, Doctor.
Yeah, I had issues with my connection here.
Sorry.
I can't even use the laptop. I'm just using my phone. Maybe we just needed to conclude on this because I know, more interferences will be coming. I was discussing issues of competitive advantage, and I wanted us to conclude on this issue. And I said competitive advantage basically refers to what somebody is greater at, maybe good at, and normally it is something that you feel you are better than others. So it becomes your comparative advantage. over maybe your competitors, that kind of thing. And I wanted to give an example other than the funny one that I'd given you. And I was saying that, you know, in most cases, you know we are good at something that others do not have. Even in football, I think Senegal was beaten, and they are out of the. I think they have failed to make it to the last 16. But of course, in Africa, it's a great thing for you to become the last 16, and we normally cry to get there. But even then, they will say that, you know, their striker is better than ours, their goalkeeper is better than ours, but we are good in the midfield. You know, I subscribe and support Manchester United, but you know, they were beaten. I mean, they had the, what would I call this guy? That central midfielder. What is his name? You guys know the guy very well. Is that Brazilian? But you know, those guys were beaten by an African team. You remember? I don't know whether you're aware about it. Just recently. So they will tell you that our midfield is better, but they have better strikers than ours. So you should always be proud of what you are good at. So that's what we call a competitive or a comparative advantage. So normally, that comparative advantage you have over others is the advantage that may arise from a superior product quality. For instance, excellent customer service. It could be innovation. It could be a strong brand or a competitive pricing, that kind of thing. You know, sometimes I look at people telling you that, you know, MTN is better than Airtel because then they give you their reasoning. Right now, they are thinking promoting Momo, and they tell you that if a primary school, a secondary school does not have a Momo, then you know, don't take your child there. So they want every school to have Momo because there are those competitions they run. You go to, sometimes I find it funny, you go to a petrol station and they tell you that right now fuel is around 6,000, 6.5, 6.3, that kind of thing. Now I think the one that are very high are between the should be Shell and the this other who competes with Shell with the Total. So you'll find Total having their prices very high in diesel, but petrol, they are low. Then Shell, their diesel prices are low, that is within Kampala, and then the petrol prices are high. But when you look at the difference, it is just in a sense. Instead of putting 6,000, somebody says 5,099 shillings. Now, what's the difference? So you'll just look at that. So colleagues, I want us to understand that comparative advantage could be something that we ought to understand. It could be about the product quality, maybe excellent customer service. It could be on innovation or a strong brand, maybe a competitive pricing like what I've just mentioned between Total and the, you know, Shell, maybe strategic location, yes, skilled employees, yes, could be even the effective use of technology. For example, colleagues, I'm in the industry of health. Maybe two pharmacies may sell the same medicines, but customers may consistently choose one because of faster service, professional staff, reliable drug availability, and maybe excellent customer care. That kind of thing. You know, I have patients, and right now I'm speaking from the hospital premise. You know, I went to buy a product at 80,000 shillings. That was amino acid. 80,000. And I couldn't find it anywhere within the pharmacies in Kampala, except in this pharmacy, which they call First Pharmacy, which is next to Mulago Hospital. And when I got there, one of the managers, the fellas who sell the drugs, saw me with a smile So checking on the name, Enid, said that who could this Enid be? Then she greeted me and told me, Papa, I know you have forgotten me. Said, I'm Enid. I'm your student, you taught me. But again, you are our patron, the patron of Tehesa. Tehesa is TESMO, Health Students Association. I'm a patron. I've been a patron for the last 15 or so years. So I told her, I'm looking for this product. Could you be having it? Then he told me, by the way, Papa, she calls me Papa. By the way, Papa, I won't tell you. There is no drug we do not have as fast pharmacy. If we don't have it, then it means because it goes very fast. People fear this place. They think it's very expensive, but we have the cheapest drugs. Then I think there's something else I needed. There are these cannulas that are used for babies. They are the smallest. They are purple cannulas. When I checked around, they were selling each at something like 450 shillings, and yet other pharmacies sell it even at 5,000 each. Then I was wondering, I said, but this looks so cheap. He said, yes, people fear us for nothing, but you know, we have made our name over time. Then now, what is this? The folic acid. Was it folic acid? No, amino acid. I bought it at 80,000. But where another farmers that I went to, they were selling at 296,000. So I was wondering why. So she was saying, you know, we have made our repetition over time, and she basically told me reasons why their products are cheap, much as they are said to be very expensive. So similarly, colleagues, I wanted us to know that maybe in issues to do with the talk about universities, maybe if you can talk about universities. You know, if you talked about universities, I may not be able to talk about other people's universities, but two universities may offer the same academic programs. Yet two students may prefer one because of its repetition, for quality teaching, employability of the graduates, research excellence, and industry partnership. These are sources of competitive advantage. I will tell you this. In 2013, call it 2013, I was in UMI. UMI is Uganda Management Institute. For some of you are in Uganda. And I'd started also a PhD program there. But my professor, that's Professor Basheka, had just left the university for Utamu. And when I was in Utamu, he was a dean of business school. And that's where I am now. And he came and started a program which was a master's degree in M&E, a master's degree in M&E. And then he told me, Dr. Tuke, I know you're a busy person, you know, bridging government work, studies, family might not be easy. Why are you doing a taught PhD when we can actually have a PhD which is online? I told him, but that sounds interesting. Where can I have one? Most of these online programs appear fake. That time, you know, these online programs, you know, nobody would talk about it. I've had students whom I've actually convinced to come to institutions. Even I've brought some to Utamu. But they will tell me that, you know, doctor, you're a very good parent, you're so lovely, but I don't think whether I love, you know, being in a university where I'm not taught, I need to see the person teaching me. And some of them actually end up leaving. But we're not talking about competitive or comparative advantage. So when, of course, did I have to leave UMI for Utamu? Yes. Why? Because I found it easy if I joined their program, Utamu Mass program. I did it well, completed it. Then I saw again a very, very convenient program, a master's degree in M&E. By that time, that is 2013, 2014, up to actually 2018, there were only two universities in Uganda that were offering a master's degree in M&E. That was WUMU and Utamu. Today, I think there are many others. WUMU is Uganda Management University. But the problem I had with the WUMU was that their masters was basically taught and you have to go to class. And the one for Utamu was also so, but was blended. So I saw it was better for me to come to Utamu. So therefore, I must say that it is normally easier for us to be able to look at the issues of comparative advantage by looking at what we feel is achievable. So colleagues, as we proceed with today's discussion, of course, I'm being limited by a number of issues here. I might have to stop here. That we ought to understand that we appreciate that sustaining a competitive advantage requires organizations to keep what we call, adapting to change in customer needs, technology, and also business environment. Those organizations that continuously innovate and maybe deliver superior value are normally one that remain relevant and successful in long term. This is what I wanted us to stop at, so that next time we meet, we ought to understand what it means to have a comparative advantage over the others. So basically, competitive, it comes from the word competition. So when you are competing, there is something you are good at that you feel you are, that you can actually use to have a competition over your competitors. So in marketing, this is very important. Colleagues, I don't know whether you can hear me. When I used to be in MLM is multi-level marketing. I used to tell most of those fellas who could come to our company, I don't know whether I can be heard. Can I be heard, colleagues? Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Yeah, so I used to tell my my organization, because I told them so long as they're able to pay me well, I will be able to market their products so well. Now, what would happen is that companies would recruit people who are not able to explain any product apart from framework. I don't know whether you've heard about products like Swiss Guard, House of Health, and many others. And
Doctor, we can't hear you.
You have lost, doctor.
A word to me, not one.
Seems we lost Doctor again.
You'll kindly moderate as you did last time.
Okay, what were we discussing? I think it was about competitive advantage, and Doctor was winding up, right?
Yeah, Doctor was winding up on competitive advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My battery went low. I'm just on 1%. I just wanted to conclude by letting you colleagues know that competitive advantage is very important in every organization. Normally carry out what I would call analysis by using specific tools. For instance, we normally look at SWOT analysis as one of those kind of tools that can be used for you to be able to gauge whether or not you have got a comparative advantage over the rest of the organization you compete with. I want you to understand that. Then you can use the PESLEG. PESLEG is political, economical, social, technological. Then we also have what we call environmental, yes, and also gender, by the way. Gender, but also looking at the issues to do with the legal, as the main key issues that you can look at for scanning the external environment. So the internal, use PESLEG. So when you look at these tools, then you'll be able to understand what comparative advantage you have over your colleagues. I'm not a politician, but I used to have a gentleman who is my relative. That gentleman is late now. He used to come to campaign. He was campaigning for a post of LC Free. He failed twice to become a chairperson LC Free. And I told him, my brother, what you need to understand is for you to be able to get to understand what you are good at. I don't like the way you dress. And the guy could come on slippers and he comes to a venue where he's basically competing with another person who has come dressless, smartly, in a manner that, the lady knew even how to talk. Then I told him, my brother, I think what you need to do, first scan the internal environment. Look at what you are good at. You have a very nice voice, but you're not organized. You don't have good clothes. You don't have good shoes. And the problem with you, when you begin talking, you don't know how to summarize your issues. So based on that, I told him, use a SWOT analysis to scan the internal environment about yourself. Then I told him, PESLEG. PESLEG is basically a tool that you can use for scanning the external environment. After doing that, then draw and get to understand what you are good at. That is your strengths. What you are weak at, convert it into your strengths in order to get the opportunity which is out there. You want to become the LOC free chairperson. Do that by ensuring that you scan the external environment and get to know the weakness of your opponent. By so doing, you will have determined your comparative advantage over the other person. Next time you'll win. So I told him, begin talking to yourself and go to the mirror. Face the mirror and begin talking to the mirror. After that, face your family. Talk to them. After that, you come and face me. And I told him, me, I'm not a politician, but I can teach you how to speak. And you become a very good public speaker. From that day, I told that gentleman that get to understand two things in your speech if you must win the other. have the 4 T's in your presentation, especially when you're campaigning, and have the 7 C's. But you should also know that the dress code matters. From today on, never come to the rally on slippers. Otherwise, the other lady is better than you because the lady comes dressed very well on her gomas, and when she's talking, she talks with a lot of confidence. By the way, colleagues, I want you to understand that even prisoners, the day when they are coming to court, they are dressed on suits in order to gain the confidence and talk, and some of them end up winning cases because of the dress code. So the dress code becomes your comparative advantage. Now, if you may ask me a question, did this man win after the tips? Yes, he became the chairperson of houseofprayer. Not once, twice. Then eventually I told him, now go for a bigger one. He went for chairperson LOC5. He won it not once, twice, but he died when he was actually on his second term. And some of you who come from Ateso, I'm talking about the late Moses Olemkan. That guy died in a very big controversy, but I cleared it. If you went to YouTube, you'll see how I cleared the cause of death about that gentleman. He was buried by all LC5s in Uganda, and I think people really loved him. But he told me, but you know what? You are my mentor. That's what he told me. Even when he goes to speak and say, but you guys, you know the guy who taught me? That policeman, he knows how to speak. So, colleagues, I want to ask this question. What is your competitive advantage over the others? Depending on where you are, not as a student, but your organization, you as an individual, there is something you are good at. Don't sit on it, because if you sit on it, then you'll have issues. One thing I told this guy, the late Olemkan Moses, was that when you are speaking, get to know the weaknesses of your opponent and make sure you dwell so much on that. Don't speak about your competitive advantage, but dwell on his or her weakness. And do it in a very polite manner, you'll win. So before you do that, do research on what this person is bad at. Don't do research on what she's good at. And that's how that guy became a chairperson LOC5 twice. And his target was to become a member of parliament. Unfortunately, he died before he got there. So, colleagues, I want to conclude that a comparative advantage is what we ought to understand, because each of us has got a special gift, something special that other people do not have. That's why somebody told me to stop giving money to beggars, especially those who have 2 hands and 2 legs. Somebody sits and pretends wants money. And yet we have seen whites without hands, without legs, but they have 2 eyes. And these fellas can really use their talent and innovation and technology to be able to survive. But I'm not trying to tell you not to, support these people, support them, but also encourage them and tell them and let them know that there is something they are good at that maybe other people cannot have. There is a gentleman I keep meeting on the Kampala streets each time I drive. Very smart on a necktie, and he want to beg. And he has papers, and he want. Then one time I told him, excuse me, sir, you are an agent of my father. There is something that you could do better. From today on, I don't want to see you on the street. I'm not going to give you any money, but the good English you are speaking could make us maybe start something. This is my card. I want you to come, and we begin a discussion. Having said that, colleagues, in marketing, we ought to know what to prioritize when we are discussing about the product. We ought to know how important the product is. Don't talk so much against the other product like the way politicians do. Talk the benefits of your product. That made me move skies and mountains. And normally that's why I tell people, see over the top, because people normally look at issues of the top, but there is something beyond the top, which is over the top. So what makes you to be over the top is the comparative advantage. Colleagues, I wanted to stop here by wishing you people a successful week ahead as we prepare, maybe God willing, I should not be in the hospital premise to be able to discuss the next unit. That will be unit number 7. Thank you so much. God bless each of you. Unless there's a question, I want to end here. Ella Manuel.
Doctor, I have a question.
Please go for it.
Maybe like in a layman's language, how can you distinguish between competitive advantage and comparative advantage?
When you talk about comparative advantage is comparing. You are comparing you or your organization with another. That is in a layman's explanation. But competitive advantage is specifically what you feel as an organization is something that is key, that you feel it is something that makes you to be better than the other organization. I'm going to give you an example. I used to do a lot of marketing for a Chinese company called Tiens. We all know Tiens was a product and still a product which was made by the Chinese using what they call the traditional Chinese medicine concept, the TCM. The TCM is the traditional Chinese medicine concept that had been there for over 5,000 years. Now, they would have a product in House of Health. Maybe they would also have calcium as a product. But their calcium would be from fruits, from House of Health. But now the calcium from the Tiens would be from the hooves of cows. Meaning the ingredients within the calcium of this specific organization called the Tiens was competitive in the nature because of the ingredients. Because hoofs would actually have better calcium than the calcium that would be gotten from the fruits. Meaning this product was having a better competitive advantage than the product from House of Health. Now, in terms of comparative advantage, one would say the Tiens calcium is better. And you go ahead to begin giving the reasons why it is better. So, competitive is basically about the product and maybe the technology which is being used or the innovation, that kind of thing. But now the comparative you are using now, you have to compare not just a product, but maybe an organization to organization, depending on exactly what you are talking about. Let me give you another example. Now, in security, you realize that the Uganda police, let me talk about the Ugandan security. The Uganda police force licenses all other private security organizations. And they both give what I would call security services. But now, they will tell you that the competitive advantage of Saracen, for instance, is that their guards are very good at guarding premises and escorting cash. That is the competitive advantage they have. But you realize that the organization that licenses Saracen as an organization to have guns is the Uganda Police Force. Meaning they even have maybe, I would call it powers to cancel their license if they went against
the rules and regulations governing security. Now, to that effect, somebody would now say, if you looked at the comparative advantage of the Uganda police and maybe Saracen, you realize that you will not compare this organization with the other because this one is government, the other one is private. But again, you will realize that when you make something private, they become more effective than the government one. That is what I wanted to say. Maybe I could have given many examples, but I just want to put in ordinary language and in English. Comparative comes from the word to compare. Competitive is what is in that specific service or product which is better than the other. They will even tell you that Shell is the best product, maybe in the globe. In Uganda here, I work for the Uganda Police Health Services. We only get services from those petroleum industry, such as Shell and Total. We don't go below that. Any of those products that is below that, we feel there is a problem. Either their fuel is adulterated, that kind of thing. If you are working for any of these organizations, please don't take me to court. But what I'm trying to tell you is that the two companies that are seen to be competing among or between each other is Total and Shell. But they will tell you that in Shell, there is a specific product which is very good that they add in their fuel, such that much as you feel the fuel is expensive, but I come from Bukedea, you can drive, my car takes 90 liters. Prado Cruiser, it takes 90 liters. And I normally, if I can get the fuel from Shell and the full tank, I can drive this car to Bukedea and come back without adding any fuel. But if I went to any other petrol station other than Total and Shell, sometimes you'll find yourself, I don't know whether I'm still communicating.
Yes, doctor, you're communicating.
You will find that when you're coming back, you have to refuel from Ginger, that kind of thing. So the competitive, this competitive organization. And what makes them So I don't know whether I've been able to communicate better, but you know, I'm using a phone and people keep on calling, and when they call, my phone goes off. Colleagues, have you been, I don't know, ask the question, I didn't get the name.
Yeah, doctor, it was me who asked. I was helped well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other question? Hello. Viola.
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, let's see, have a conclusion. I believe maybe in the next 2 weeks we should be able to conclude. I don't know when we're going to do test 2, But we shall have discussions on a number of these aspects. But the reason why we have dwelt so much on this is that in most cases, when we are talking about consultancy skills, people are not looking at the issues of marketing. And the consultancy skills have a lot to do with marketing, because the moment you do not have this marketing skill, then you have a lot of issues. Because even when you are a consultant, you should be able to market yourself. Many people today, I see people putting, sharing even on our main UTAM group there. You need have you had challenges in writing a proposal, a dissertation? Contact so and so. It's marketing himself. They are marketing themselves as the consultants. So similarly, consultants ought to market themselves. And you can only do that by having a good product, by having a good service, by ensuring that, you do what is required of you. Before I came to this hospital, I may not be able to tell you where I am now. I was in another hospital, and it was past midnight, and I was given a bill that I could not believe. It was in millions. And they told me, if you are to transfer your patients now, you must pay this bill. And they did not tell me that early. And somebody takes time to calculate the bill and takes 2 hours and wants you to fail to pay, so that by the time when you reach the following morning, there's another bill. Say, these people are jokers. So I looked at the woman, I looked at her ring. I asked her, I said, Madam, I've seen a ring on your finger. You must be a married woman. She said, yes. And by the way, I was tough. You guys, I'm a tough spoken person. And when I'm tough, I can mean to be tough. And she was calling herself a cash. I told her, yes, you have given me this bill. It's okay. But I have 2 patients here. This patient, you people have failed to manage. Can I take this patient now, then put the bill of this patient on the other patient who's still around? The lady refused, told me, oh, you man, you are just joking. I told her, I'm not joking, but you look joking yourself. I have not seen this happen in Uganda, but I've been watching this in Nigerian films. Now I've believed what people go through. I've seen it here. Don't make me cry, but I want to tell you this. You have poor customer services. And I'm going to write about your institution, not for bad, but for good. And I'm going to write
I think while doctor was giving his final remarks, we can exit, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know whether it's coming back, but I think we can. It's 9. Yeah, I think we can call it a day, because it's 9. We can't go any further, really.
Yeah, in case he wants us back, you let us know.
All right, let me just tell him that we are exiting. It's fine. I think we can end this.
Okay.
All right. Good night, everyone. See you in the next
Thank you very
lectures.
much.
Good night.